Hey everyone, I hope you all are doing well. This is your host Khushi Katyal, and welcome to the 12th episode of Industry Inside Out, where we have Tushar Kansal as a guest. Tushar is the founder and CEO of Consultancy Ventures, where he helps change makers accelerate their dreams by means of venture capital, angel investment, and strategic services. The company was awarded Best Startup Supporter at India First Tech Startup Conclave, New Delhi by Dr. Kiran Bedi. As a thought leader and a thought influencer, he has been invited as a guest to over 250 talks with his presence on business news channels and publications like CNN, Business World, Business and Economy. Tushar has also been awarded Entrepreneur of the Year 2022 by Business Connect magazine. Tushar, welcome to the podcast.
So much for having me, Khushi. It's always a pleasure discussing fresh ideas with students like you, and I look forward to an interesting session today as well.
Thank you so much, Tushar. So,
Thank you.
I would like to begin with like some of the notes that you shared with me, and I really like the quote that life is a discovery and a journey, not a responsibility. So, I would love to delve deep into it. That what's the meaning behind this quote of yours, and what has been your journey like with ups and downs.
Well, it's like this, Khushi. Even if you think you want to be Elon Musk, or even if you think you had a very bad past, the fact of the matter is you will live one day at a time. Tomorrow has not come, yesterday is gone. So no matter if you achieve a designation in your office which you wanted, or you are doing a degree which you wanted, end of the day you will be doing it only one day at a time. So so if you don't give importance to today, then very soon you will find that uh, decades are passing and you are not getting satisfied, because you have to live today. And if you have to live today, then each moment, um, it is not supposed to be valued in terms of anything else but happiness. And even if you want to value your time with money, it can be because that's a part of your business, but your larger life cannot be determined by that. Your larger life is determined by the good moments you spend and the ones you remember. And that's where the role of other people also come, because end of the day, all of us from inside are people who want to be joyful and happy. But as we face life, we start to borrow opinions of others. And because we borrow opinions of others, we start forgetting that we want to be happy. That is the main purpose. And here also, Indian families have a negative role to play, because some of the Indian families, rather, a lot many of them, they tell the students, just focus on your career. They don't tell them focus on being happy and doing your best, just your best, and focus on career, but also focus on relationships and health. And that is where the it becomes lopsided, and it starts negatively showing up in people. You find people are irritable, they get angry very easily, they don't maintain their health, they don't maintain good relationships, and that's where the whole problems come from.
I mean, like just like you said that life is not solely like determined by the money you are earning. Like it's a part of it, but then again, what's the change you are trying to seek in your life? What's the like the moments you lived, and it's like determined by that too. And like you said, that focusing on, of course, the health, the relationships we have with our parents, with our siblings, with our peers. So that also matters in life. So, what has been such moments in your life that, like, when you look back and you see that, like, okay, like you pat yourself on your back, like wow, like I have achieved this. Like, what has been those moments for you?
Uh, okay, so first of all, you know, my friends tell me that the amount they have laughed in a college with me, they have not laughed after that.
Okay.
So, I was always someone who took life very lightly, and that meant that I was not bound by any egoistical considerations. And of course, life taught me that you have to have a serious side also, and you can't be the same in all situations. But till date, I have maintained a side of me uh, which is very joyful, and which wants to have fun also, and not only focus on the responsibilities and duties and everything. And I have traveled a lot. Like, I think I would have traveled around 30-35 countries, and I have seen whole of India maybe twice or thrice.
Wow.
uh, and my father was a very avid traveler, so he took us 3 times every year. Apart from that, I traveled to Turkey, US, yeah, London, China, Thailand, Malaysia, Singapore, Egypt, uh, and I've been like Russia many times. And so, I've seen uh, that in India, if we start really becoming very serious about what the society says and what people say, and so you will stop realizing that other people are also happy. and
Yeah.
uh, and end of the day, you have to take the best of each place. So you take the best of what Indian society is teaching you, and you take the best of what US Western society is teaching you, and you take the best of and there are negative sides of each society as well. So learn learn to let go. Don't Even if you have in the past taken these things very seriously, and uh, because of that you have a bad experience, for the sake of today and the future, learn to let go, and let go, and value your today. So so that's what I have always believed, that that life is not supposed to be. See, I'll tell you one thing which I read somewhere. Earth as human life, and
Okay.
Earth is one of the places in the universe. I'm 100% sure there would be billions of Earths also, because there are billions of galaxies. So, what is the reason Earth only has humanity? If you think of it deeply, there is no reason. It just happened to be a place where environment became quite nice, and living organisms flourished. So, if Earth itself does not have a reason, why are you so serious about life? I mean, and your opinion is a part of a tremendous universe, and it doesn't matter. So that's what I believe in.
I mean, that's a great piece of learning, first of all, Tushar, that there's a line that stop taking your life goddamn seriously, right? That when you start taking things light, it helps you to, try out different projects, or it helps you to calm down. And that if it doesn't work out, okay, it doesn't work out, I'll try something else. So that helps you to become flexible also. And
don't think like I am like this and I am like that. See, you are in the core of it, a, a joyful consciousness. That's it. As Buddha said, we are all hollow from inside. And as and when we grow up, there is mental conditioning of things around us, opinions around us, how others do things. And then we start forming an opinion of our own self. And the moment we start forming negative opinions of our own self, then we start going down in life. And that's when people take antidepressants, and I have taken antidepressants for many years. And so I generally, my this thing is, uh, like Sadhguru says, whatever happens inside you should be according to what you want. Whatever happens outside you, it is out of your control. At least you ensure that whatever happens inside you is according to what you want. And for that, you have to not being judgmental and take life in not very serious terms.
I mean, so like another thing, of course, that you shared with me, and I was like happy that you shared with me, but at the same time I wanted to talk about it, was that like you suffered from depression while you were at your corporate job, right? So I was like a bit shaken about that. I just wanted to ask you that, like, could you like go deep, like what was that time for you, and how did you, like gain mental strength to come back from depression and then become who you are today, like a thoughtful leader and an entrepreneur? So how was that journey for you?
It was a very long journey, Khushi. I had bouts of anger in office, and because of that, I had a bad relationship with one of my bosses, which meant that the toxic relationship was there. So there was a lot of toxicity in office, and of course, it just depressed me a lot. And end of the day, I had to leave the job because in such a situation, you can't continue. But after I left the job, I realized that there is something wrong. I am feeling very much sad all the time. And then I started consulting a psychiatrist, and he gave me antidepressants, and I took them for a number of years. And even after that, I used to have like feel temperamental, and I used to eat a lot, and my weight increased. And uh, I although I did perform well in my office because I was quite sincere, but it did affect my life a lot. And there was one day when I decided I have to find other ways of maintaining my composure and peace of mind, and not rely on any medicine. And that's when I quit these medicines, and I started doing pranayama. I started doing meditation. I started, I put a lot of effort in maintaining peaceful relationships around me, so that there is a lot of peaceful situation around me and peace of mind. And whichever um, parts of my life were painful, I just cut myself from it. And I said, at the cost of my peace of mind, I will not do anything. And that's the day when I started taking control of my life. And I backed myself. End of the day, the thing is, because we start forming judgments about ourselves, we start forgetting our positive side. And uh, I started backing myself. I did one podcast, and then somebody said you were awesome, and then I gained confidence. Then I did another webinar. Then my college senior said, "Why don't you become a judge in a competition?" And then he said, "Tushar, you did really well." and then the video came on social media, and then I said, oh, and then I realized I have so many qualities. Why am I, thinking I am depressed and I'm sad, and and that's how I came back to my original state.
I mean, first of all, like, uh, it takes, a lot of willpower to actually realize that you are like going mentally down, and then, have that faith in yourself and trust at that point that, okay, I'll come, uh,
Out of it.
I'll come out of it.
Mhm.
And like it's gonna take time, but again, like with little steps, I'll be back on my feet. So like you started doing podcast, and then you started coming on webinars, and of course, like you have given over 250 talks now. Like seeing that time and now, it seems like for someone else it would be like, oh, okay, it must be, easy for him. But then again, how that confidence got, built up over time. So talking about your talks and sessions, how do you build that oratory skills? Like, for a person who, who wants to do open mics, or let's say TED talks, or like have that confidence that, okay, I can also I want to speak in front of thousand, let's say 1,000 people, or I want to, give my knowledge to other people, like vocally. So how have you built those oratory skills, and how has that journey been for you?
Kushi, uh, if you start believing that you will explain something in the least amount of words, you will build amazing communication. You have to learn the art of explaining anything in short and using simple words. Don't be like Shashi Tharoor, who only 1% people can understand. And
Yeah.
second thing, you don't have to be an encyclopedia. But if you know this much, you should be able to explain it well. And always, if you are taking other people's time who are coming to listen to you, then value that time. You study and go uh, to the talk you are delivering. And I really, sometimes in webinars, I have put like days and days to make notes, and to make sure I'm really doing justice to the people who are coming. And so communication is a function of practice, and the more you do your reading, you will be better at it. It is as simple as that.
I
I
mean,
read a lot.
yeah.
Like even in from college, I used to read 3 hours every day. I think it is more than 35 years I've been reading 3 hours every day. Till today, I read 3 hours every day.
Wow. I mean, consistency and you,
You can call
Tushar.
it an OCD also.
Okay. Okay. So like talking about the art of building these oratory skills, like summing up in simplest words and
Use
keeping your
as
talk
less words
concise.
as possible. And the more you read, what happens is, once you start writing, like, I write articles. And when I start writing, I realize that, oh no, I can do it this way. And I can use this word. And, instead of putting this thing here, I should put it in the introduction. And the more I do it, I become a better orator. So, if you uh, s- s- start building your writing skills, you will become a good orator. And once you start writing down, you will realize there are many parts to your thinking which is regressive. Like, sometimes you turn philosophical where it is not required. Sometimes you start to give too many examples which is not required. So that particular knack of articulating it, it is connected with reading, writing, uh, trying to use least number of words, trying to use quality words. And always remember, there is a small formula there. It's called prep, PREP. which
Okay.
means you give a point, then you give a reason, then you give an example, and then you sum up the point again. So, if you following this simple prep thing, then, the other person will always come out knowing that he learned something, he really understood something. A large part of our teachers, their problem is that they start with the definition. If they want to teach a subject, they will start with the definition. Nobody is bothered with the definition, man. I mean, tell the practical side of things, whether, how it will affect my life, and, how it will affect somebody else's life, and practically what do I need to do. So that's what is hugely missing in uh, our educational system.
I mean, that's a great, I mean, unique piece of advice I have heard about building oratory skills. Because when I like talk to other people, the first thing that they say is that stand in front of a mirror and just start speaking, right? And this is the most common thing I have heard about it. So this is something new
See, I'll
that
tell you, nobody is
yeah.
coming to watch your face. Everybody is coming to listen to the subject.
Hmm.
If you have a command over the subject, your body language, your confidence will automatically be there. So don't focus on the superficial things. uh,
Hmm.
and focus on the fact that whether if they are offering you 45 minutes of their life, you gave them something good in return, which they understood.
So when you shift the focus from it's about you to it's about the people you are catering to, and see that if they are getting something valuable or not, then the whole game shifts. That you start thinking from their perspective, that how I
Ab-
can concisely
yeah,
put across my point that can help them in like whatever you are delivering to your audience.
absolutely, absolutely.
So, talking about this, like again, the sessions, and of course, so I saw your recent post on LinkedIn that you'll be coming on Tata Play channel, Har Ghar Startup, in an 18-part series, Business Ki Pathshala, Sifar Se Shikhar Tak. So, in English, I would like to tell my audience that it means business classroom from cipher to pinnacle, and the first episode will air on 13th May 2023 on Saturday at 11:30 a.m. IST. So I would love to know that what is it about Tushar and how did you even like come across this opportunity? Like it seems so interesting. Like coming on a
Should I tell you the
TV.
real thing, the reality, the truth, or should I tell you a marketing thing?
Both, actually both. Both seems interesting to me.
Okay, so the thing is, there is an investment banker friend of mine who used to call me for deals.
Okay.
And one day I saw his post that he has joined some place, and there was a venture capitalist photo he had put. So I said, this venture capitalist went and met this guy, and I know this guy since 4 years. Why am I not? Why didn't I go and meet? So
Hmm.
I called him up. He said, "You come to my office." I went to the office. There was a director there who was sitting, and this guy had praised me in front of the director. So the director was asking me a number of questions. So
Okay.
I said, all this, why are you asking me? He said, we want a good content for our channel. So I said, you can record now. He said, now? I said, yeah. So without any notes, I recorded for 2 hours and 20 minutes. And this guy was like, I mean, without any notes, he got all that content. So then he praised me in front of his manager. And I got a call from the manager that we are starting a channel in Tata Play. And your previous recording, although it was quite nice in terms of content, but we didn't do your makeup, we didn't put lights. So it is not presentable on Tata Play. So can you record again? So that's how I went and I recorded the episodes. And uh, I again prepared, I made notes, and each and they were very happy about it.
I mean, I could totally see that those 3 hours of book reading and those 250 talks has resulted in this, that you did not even need notes beforehand to, give that on the
That's
spot
true.
2 or 20 minutes content to them. So that's like the power of consistency that has, given that output. So, like
Yeah.
talking, so what is it about the show?
So we are talking about number of things. Like in one of the episodes, we are talking about how easy it is to set up a food company in India, a cloud kitchen or a restaurant, and what are the parameters. Then in another one, like, when the economy is down, then how do you convert your company? How does a CEO convert the company into a cockroach company? So, then that uh, cockroach company, cockroaches can survive a nuclear winter also. So, like save costs, and we have discussed with examples. Then, all, each episode is a different topic we chose, and we discussed along with the, like in one of them, we are discussing about um, that the women uh, participation in the workforce in India has come down from 30% to 24%,
Okay.
and which is a big worry. And it has to do with COVID actually. And there we are discussing that Akasa Air has mandated that the air hostesses, they are not supposed to wear high heel shoes. They are wearing sport shoes. And such a simple innovation, and how big it is for the air hostesses running on the aisle here and there wearing sport shoes instead of high heel shoes. So all this.
I mean, that sounds so interesting that like that's a different perspective you get to hear about from the like in the startup world. So talking about like your like for every episode or for every talk show you prepare notes, right? So what is your creative process going on at that point, that how do you prepare your notes? Like I would love to know your process on how Tushar prepares notes for his talk sessions. Like for example, like a week after I'm like hosting a LinkedIn live, and I'm like I have to write a speech for it, right? So I don't know like from where to start, or which like what should be my speech content, or for anyone else who want to give a speech, or have that like what should I talk about. So how is that creative process for you?
See, in my case, it'll be different than your case, because I have been in startup space since 8 years, and I have certain things which I see all the startup founders repeating the same mistakes. So,
Hmm.
if I were to do a LinkedIn live, I will immediately talk about those things so that it makes sense to thousands of them. In your case, you are on the edge of being a student, and at the same time you have a very clear aura. So you are a person who's wanting to build something very nicely with a lot of patience. So instead of uh, like you're doing this podcast, how many have you done?
Well, for this channel currently, like this is the 12th podcast. Like I have done over 80 podcasts till now, including
There you
like
have it. To give the students will love hearing a person who's just a student and who has done 80 podcasts. I mean, you give your learnings on that, and you give snippets also from that. That in this case this happened, which taught me this, and why people love talking to you. So what is your X factor? So talk about that.
so like for your talks, like how do you conduct an in-depth research for your notes?
I do. So what I do is I put my team onto the topic, and they give me things, and I flip through them, and then I make up my mind as to which are the areas I want to focus on. And I always focus, always, you can see there are more than 150 videos of mine on YouTube. Sorry, 300 videos of mine on YouTube on the practical side. I will never focus on the theoretical. And whatever I need to do to bring out the practical side, whether it is examples, inter-country examples, and then what is the latest happenings, and I'll try to make it interesting, and use as less number of words as possible, and like that.
I mean, that's the
And probably like for a half an hour, 40-minute talk, I will keep a half an hour question and answers to make it more interactive.
okay. So that's a great piece of advice that whenever you are conducting a talk, make it interactive and
Yeah.
like keep it practical. That it does not even bore your audience. Like some concepts make sense, but at the same time, it should be like full of examples and how it can help
Like
them.
somebody was asking me, there was a student talk at MFL Edu Club, and there were 250 students there, and they were saying that although you have told us about startups, but what if I make a career in the stock markets? So I gave him, like, I would have given 20 examples, like, to explain about the stock markets, and they loved it. I told them which books to read, what is the funda which happens in stock markets, what are the greats say about when you start becoming an investor in stock markets, and how does the returns look like, how what are the upskilling and cross skilling you need to do to actually become a good trader, what are the kind of returns you can expect from being this from this activity, and if you want to make a career in a big company, then what all do you need to study, from which colleges? So I covered everything.
Getting. So Tushar, like you said that you help, people to again like generate good amount of financial returns from the stock market. And then talking about, so I would love to delve deep into your venture capital side. Uh, so what motivated you to start your own venture capital firm? And I really like that your surname and that word consulting that correlates so perfectly and it fits so well. So, like, what motivated you to start your own VC firm?
I uh, see, I am too outspoken, so I don't generally fit in with companies where you have to be a yes man. And
Okay.
since I read a lot, so I have my own opinion on everything. I read spirituality, I read about countries, economy, and so I have my own opinion on everything. So I always wanted to be my own man, and it took me some time to set up my own business. I made a lot of mistakes. I made a lot of losses. But once I realized that uh, whatever I like to do and whatever I'm trained for, which is finance, I should focus on that because I've been doing it since 20 years. So instead of putting my hands in this side or that side. So once I started focusing, I started making money. And there is, the venture capital thing is that economically it makes sense to have a business on the balance sheet side of the company rather than profit and loss side. So if you are supplying a product to a company or a service, you make a small money. But if you are actually investing in that company and that company grows big, so the valuation of any company moves exponentially to the business it is doing. So business wise, you will make 30%. On the balance sheet side, you will make 300%. The risk is also more because not every company succeed, but that's where your talent comes in. And that's where your uh, training as a finance professional. I have worked for Deloitte and Touche. I've done private equity, valuation, due diligence. Uh, then I was in Brand Capital, which is Times of India's venture arm, invested 100 crores across six companies. So I knew how to do investment. And then I was heading treasury with a Russian telecom company, MTS, raised almost $2.5 billion for them. So I knew how to do fundraise. And then I was CFO of a 1,500 crore company owned by Guggenheim Partners, the American private equity fund. So I have seen the things from an eagle's eye perspective. But when you do your own business, you have to be a different fish,
Yeah.
because people will scam you if you try to do it the corporate way. And so that's where I made losses. And but I always loved venture capital. Economically, it makes sense. And since I read a lot, the main work of a venture capitalist is to know things, and which means you have to read a lot, and that's what I've been doing since like my whole life. So it just I'm made for it.
So, what does a day in your life as a VC looks like? Like, give us a sneak peek into your life.
I am talking to new companies, like I get around 10 new companies every day. I can't talk to all of them. I get too tired, so I have made a marketing funnel. So I send them, we send them mailers at each point to educate them as to how we are doing things. And at certain point I see value that I need to talk. So I do that. And we are also, apart from our go to market, which is the podcast and all the media articles and social media. And then apart from that, whichever companies we have invested in, we have to mentor them all the time, because their uh, founders are usually a worried lot. So you have to be by their side, and also help in their future rounds of funding. And you have to keep your investors happy also, who have put in money in your company. So it is a full time job. But for someone who does not have a patience of an elephant, its fund's life cycle is 10 years. So we are also an investment banking company, in the sense we consult for debt, equity, and mergers and acquisitions. So that also keeps us busy, and doing some very exciting assignments on that side as well.
So, like, that seems, yes, of course, that's a full time job, and that seems also hectic. So, like, do you find time for your personal self? Like, does it take a toll on your physical health or mental health or your personal life?
It will, if you are not disciplined. So
Okay.
I mean, end of the day, if you're not balancing, and I have a family, I have two kids, they have their own requirements, and I live with my parents, so they are also old. So I have to give time to them also. But if you are not balancing your life in terms of keeping some portion for your health, portion of time for your own self, like you listen to music, read a book, talk to friends, watch IPL, and stuff like that. But frankly speaking, I am a person who really enjoys being in a social setting. But if I do it too much, I start getting headaches. So I need my own time.
Yeah.
So, so, so little bit of fun here and there. I that is my outlet.
And like I also came across one of your LinkedIn posts. Actually, like a lot of LinkedIn posts were, of course, on health, that there should be a balance of health, relationships, and career. So, like I would say like Gen Z and millennials like us. So we are always like focused on our career, that like no matter what, this is a deadline, I have to submit this. And we often like don't um like I personally or like often don't pay attention to my health. My mom also, keeps like arguing with me and scolding me that you're not paying attention. You what's the purpose that if you don't have physical health or mental health, how will you even, like work towards your career goals? So what's your guidance to, like youngsters like us that who are like not paying much attention to their health and they're just solely focusing on their career? Like what's your guidance?
See, I'll give you an example. You look at our prime minister.
Okay.
He is always, some rally, or he's speaking somewhere, or he's doing some inauguration, and he does not have sugar, he does not have BP. But our finance minister, Arun Jaitley, he sadly passed away because of kidney problem. And Sushma Swaraj, our external affairs minister, she passed away because of kidney problem. So people, end of the day, you can become the minister also in your life. But if your health does not support, you won't be able to enjoy it. So end of the day, again the same theory. You live one day at a time. So, tomorrow Khushi becomes a minister, or tomorrow Khushi uh, becomes a housewife. If she does not have good health today, she's not enjoying both the things. So, health is a crucial part of it. And so, that you have to. And second thing is, uh, today the stresses are a lot. Like, jobs are less, and the quality of teaching in degree colleges is bad. So you have to do everything yourself, and there is so much of data, or you are on mobile 8 to 10 hours a day. Some video is shouting something, some video is shouting something, and there is, so the mind, it runs very fast. Because it runs very fast, it is not able to slow down at the right moment and take rest. And that rest is a crucial part of your decision making. If your mind is not restful, it will be erratic, it will generate stress even when the stress is not required. So suppose you
Hmm.
have a 3-day target to submit a report. I understand everybody will be stressed. But if 3 days after that also your mind is running fast because you did not sleep in time, you did not take care of yourself, that is your fault. That is nobody else's fault. That is not your teacher's fault also.
Hmm.
So having a perspective of relationships, health, career, and I used to tell this to my students a long time back, that there are three things which are important in life. One is your relationship with others. The other thing is your relationship with God, in the sense your spiritual side, and the relationship with your own self. The three things are important. So if you have a good relationship with others, you will form a good family. If you have a good relationship with God, you will have the right value system, and you will know that the universe is meant for happiness and joyfulness. If you have a good relationship with yourself, you will keep happiness as a focus of your mental health, and you will focus on your physical health. So these three relationships are most crucial in our life.
I mean, like I haven't like heard anyone before like saying that these are the like the core values you need to have in your life. And I'm thankful that you are like here and as a guest to my podcast
See,
and
what
educating
happens
me
is,
also. Yeah.
sometimes we start thinking ये भगवान भगवान क्या है, एंड ये तो बड़े बकवास है, और ये है वो है. भाई मैं ये नहीं कहता कि आंख बंद करके हाथ जोड़ो.
Hmm.
बट जो अच्छी बातें गुरु ग्रंथ साहिब में हैं, जो अच्छी बातें भगवत गीता में हैं, the ones which are good in Buddha's teachings, the Sister Shivani, Sadhguru, Shri Shri Ravi Shankar. read them. They are trying to tell you something meaningful about life. And if you can follow even 10% of that, you'll be a happy and satisfied person. And stay away from toxic relationships. In India, we are guilty of the fact that we will drag our entire life around toxic relationships. So stay away from toxic relationships. Your time is too valuable for that.
I mean, that's also a thing that you need to know when to say no, how to say no to the people to get away from that, toxicity and focus,
Right.
of course, on yourself and the people who
Yeah.
actually, love you and give you time and of course focus on your career as well. So
Absolutely. Absolutely.
like talking about the career and then the so there was one note that you shared that like the 90% of the people who are in like a corporate job, they don't know that what the like the company is actually like doing and what like even they are doing, so they are just being a cog in the machine. So for people like them and for the people who want to work on their entrepreneurial mindset, what's your guidance to them? Like you also had a job and then now you are an entrepreneur. So how did you develop your entrepreneurial mindset?
See, in every company, you will find people who are, everybody is going to them to ask what to do.
Yeah.
And this person actually understands how the company is working and what is our department's role in the company. The other
Hmm.
people, they are just followers. They, bring their food to office, they have a gala time, they do some work, and they leave in the evening. So, they don't have an entrepreneurial mindset. And if you want to be a driver of the business, and that's where you will build your capability to open your own business later on. So if you work with that attitude, you will get the right skill set to maybe do the same business for you.
Hmm.
Because even if you are a CEO of a company, it is not easy to do the same business yourself because you will be putting your money at risk. But if you have done the job of a CEO with full responsibility and ownership, and with entrepreneurial bent of mind, then you will be able to do business for your own self. And you will be able to take risks, and uh, you will know how to handle a team and how to motivate a team and provide true leadership.
I mean, that's a way that take ownership of your work and take ownership whatever you are being made in charge of. Once you start
Right.
inculcating that mindset, then it becomes easier for you to develop an entrepreneurial mindset and work towards building your own asset as well.
Absolutely. And you will find only there is a rule, GE had said, General Electric, Jack Welch, that 20% of the people do all the work, and 80% of the people are just followers. And that's why he said, I promote these 20% every year, and I retrench bottom 10% every year, so that the followers have enough reasons to keep on working, and not just not work properly. And so if you find there are people in offices, they keep on getting more and more responsibility because the company finds that this person always delivers on responsibility. So those are the people who are actually the backbones of the business. And many times, if these people are not valued in the business, they will leave, or after many years you will find that they are doing a successful business themselves.
I mean, you have given so much knowledge and like value to this podcast. So I was just love to ask out of curiosity that what kind of books do you read? Like since you read 3 hours a day, so you must have read so many books. So just tell us like what kind of books of like an entrepreneur. or like a person who wants to explore their spiritual side should read different kind of books? Like what all do you read?
See, I'll tell you, if you want to uh, understand uh, your own self, then you have to understand the spiritual side of life. And so, if you are not into heavy reading, then you can watch videos. If you want to develop the spiritual side of yours, you can see the videos of Sister Shivani, Sadhguru, and Shri Ravi Shankar. And if you want to uh, understand Bhagavad Gita, which is the juice of uh, Hindu religion, then you should do it under the guidance of a guru. And I have been taking classes from a Bangalore based lady. She was director HR with Hewlett Packard, and she takes a batch of 40 people and she delivers the class on Bhagavad Gita, two verses in one class. So we have been doing it since 12 months. And we talk about the verses, what it means, and you won't believe, I mean, the depth at which our gurus had gone. I mean, you won't believe. And the other books, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, you should definitely read because, uh, it'll develop a financial sense for you. And then there are, should I tell you about like power of positive thinking?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Go
Like,
ahead.
yeah, and uh, uh, the power of subconscious mind uh, by Joseph Murphy. And then if you are a woman who was in a bad relationship, then you should read Anita Moorjani's Dying to Be Me. She came out of a toxic relationship. And so then uh, all these, I can probably put up a list on for the benefit of your viewers any day.
Thank you so much, Tushar, for that. And could you also please tell the name of that lady, like who has been your guru for Bhagavad Gita, if any of my listeners want to enroll for their course there?
Shubha Kulkarni.
Okay,
She's she was director HR with Hewlett Packard India, and her boss, who was based in Singapore, she started learning Bhagavad Gita from Gita Press Gorakhpur. And
okay,
the guru said, since you have put in so many years, so you have to give it back. So you form a group and you teach it. So she taught Shubha, and Shubha was in her class. Then Shubha started taking further classes. So we have like people from all over the world, and we just discussed two or three verses in a class of 1.5 hours, and it is very interactive because anything you have to learn from Hindu scriptures, it has to be under the guidance of a guru because it is interactive. It is case study based, like it is not a word which is given by God and you have to follow for entire life. If you understand it, you follow it. It is like that.
getting. And uh, thank you so much, Tushar, for giving us, so many like books to read
My
and
pleasure.
of
My pleasure.
course increase our knowledge. And I guess that's like we have come to the end of the podcast. And any last piece of advice which you want to give to the budding entrepreneurs, impresarios, people who want to again like explore their spiritual self, the people who like want to know how to focus on their health. Any piece of advice for all of these listeners?
Travel a lot.
Okay.
You travel a lot. I mean, get out of your mental conditioning because our society and our media, we give a particular conditioning. Our family gives a particular conditioning. So, when you go out, you appreciate that life is beyond your conditioning. And that's where you realize the truths and you become a better person because you travel.
And that's the ways that you get to explore the world, and of course, you get to explore yourself as well.
Absolutely.
Got it. Thank you so much, Tushar, for coming to the podcast. And it was pleasure to interact with you and get to know your journey and experience.
It's my pleasure, Kushi, and I wish you well, and I wish you do really well. You have done so much of hard work with these podcasts, and you have a very clear aura. So always keep it like that, and don't get into toxic relationships.
Yes.
All the best to you.
Thank you, Tushar. To everybody else, until next time, thank you for listening.